Marie needs a new short set. He looked like Unc at the cookout.
Meanwhile, Philip needs a new face after his decision date meeting with Aries.
And Q, aka Quentin, needs a reality check.
Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about Own Network's reality-based TV series, Ready to Love, season number 8, episode number 12.
So here we go. Let's get into it.
Tommy invites the remaining cast members to brunch to give them one last assignment.
The women will be taking these men to meet their families so they can get their opinions on them before the final selection. Janelle brought along her cousin Courtney to meet Quentin.
When Quentin arrived, he was obviously glad to see Janelle, and he was definitely glad, seemingly, to meet her cousin Courtney.
Yes, and prior to Q coming in, I think Courtney recognized that Janelle was really giddy and excited about Quentin, and I believe that Courtney thought that it was too early for all of that, but it is what it is. So the first question out of Courtney's mouth to Q was, "How old was he?"
Yeah, and he said 34, and he was like seemingly caught off guard by his response because obviously he knows that his cousin Janelle is an older woman, and I think he was expecting a little bit of a different answer.
Well, then he said, "Well, do you want kids? Yeah, are children important to you?" And Quentin came in and said that friends and family means everything to him. So, of course, his answer was yes. He wanted kids and he wanted three children. And that, I guess, rocked Janelle's world because she said definitively that's a hard pass for her. She could do maybe one and a half with a dog, but three children, not so
Will
much.
somebody please tell me what 1.5 kids is?
She started to protest that she never heard this kind of conversation from Quentin before about the three kids. He said in his confessional that he always wanted three kids and that he, as you know, wants his own children. And Janelle said that if that's supposed to happen, they need to be in love and married right now for any part of his dream to happen.
She also said that she could consider, and or would do him a solid, quote unquote, for at least one kid, right?
No, I've never heard someone doing someone a solid to have the baby or have children. I've never heard that. "I'll do you a solid. I'll pick up some food for you on the way home. I'll do you a favor." I've never heard someone say that "I'll do you a solid if I have a baby." Good for her.
Well, it was casual to say the least to me.
Let me go back. Quentin needs a reality check. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Mm.
Next up,
REA and his connection with Kat. Kat invited her cousin Monica to the meeting because she wanted him to be, I guess, questioned by somebody who was close with her. Yeah.
yeah, but I think in this interview session with Marie that the cousin outed Katerina because one of the questions that shocked Monica was when Marie said that he wanted to leave the country to go to Sierra
Sierra
Leone
Leone.
or Ghana. Did he say Ghana?
I don't know if the second nation was Ghana or
But
not,
he's
second
looking
country.
for citizenship.
Right, exactly.
And she was stunned. She said, "Well, like, who that going with you? You going by yourself?"
Apparently, she didn't know her cousin Katerina was open to such a suggestion.
And he said, "Oh, me and Katerina had this conversation."
So Marie kind of dropped that on her unexpectedly, and she was kind of like looking at Kat. That's like, I didn't know this.
But the point is, capping the pattern feeling, Marie.
I think I mentioned last week or in some previous taping that we did that from my vantage point, she was just trying to make it to the end, and so she made it as far as she could go.
Well, she made it as far as she can go.
Hmm.
And then Monica asked Marie if he would stand up. And I'm saying, what the hell is going on? If he didn't she see him when he stood up coming in?
I would have
What's
thought
the
so,
problem?
or at least for a quick moment before he sat down, even if he entered from behind her.
And then she insisted, so the brother got up, and then Kat got up, and she asked him whether he had a problem with her height. Now, Kat, I'm sure, got on heels, okay?
Okay.
So she's significantly taller than Mary is, and his response was, I can climb trees. You want to do a cavity search? Should I bend over? What was that?
I guess in an effort to try to size him up for a a review with her cousin after they left. Maybe had a one-on-one conversation with Kat after the fact. It was not appropriate from my vantage point to ask him to do that just to see how tall he was in comparison.
Anyway, next up was
Aries invited her mom, uh, Janet, and his
Sister
sister.
Kim. Philip came through, but he was surprised because his sister Kim was there, and he didn't know that he would have a second pair of eyes on him. First thing off the block with Miss Janet was makes decisions in your relationship. She fixed her eyes on
Yeah, if she'd have had glasses, she'd have been tipping over him, like looking right over him, and like,
and you know when you hear any older person
like
say,
this.
"Mhm." That's a bad sign.
That's a bad start, yeah, for sure.
And he said, well, I'm gonna collaborate with Aries in the relationship because I'm gonna ask a question or two so we could come to a decision moving forward.
That works for both of us moving forward.
And Mama and Kim did not like that because clearly that's not how Aries' father rolled, and that was strike one.
Yep, he swung and he missed at that one, didn't he?
Sure enough.
Mm.
He asked him if he goes to church.
And what was his response? No, strike two. And Aries at the time, I believe it was either that or the next question. She was sipping on the wine. At that point, she needed a bottle.
Then he said, well, I'm a Buddhist. That's my thing. It's all about self management
Yeah, and the practices of
and the
self-managers,
practices of self
self-management,
management,
right?
and that works for me. Mama and Kim, oh, were breaking the brother down.
Oh, the interrogation was well underway.
Mama Janet asked, what's going on with you financially? And he said, he wants to do his comedy
Right, he was
stuff.
trying to get back into it because he hadn't performed in a while, and he that was something that he was interested in getting back into.
But I've never heard him discuss comedy on this show.
I believe
I've
he had.
never heard him say anything
Okay,
about that.
I think I had heard him reference it once before. I believe,
Well, in any event, Miss Kim asks, well, how lucrative are those jokes?
and he said not so much starting off.
Not starting off, and Mama said, well, you starting over again? And that was, you could hear the squeaking of the coffin just closing, you know.
And I guess he
And they were now in the process of kicking dirt over that box.
and you know who got a sense of that? Proverbially speaking, their relationship was dead, and that was Phil.
Yes,
That was Philip
my understanding.
because he could read the room and
Yes,
he could basically tell that Mama Janet wasn't feeling him, nor was Sister Kim feeling him,
right,
and he got, from my vantage point, an understanding of where some of the questions that he was, or some of the statements that Aries was making in a lead up to this moment came from.
right. And he tried to hug Mom, and she turned away slightly.
She
But
checked
he
out on him.
said that it would be a problem.
I would definitely love to have his insight in terms of why he thought it still would in lieu of what happened on that particular meeting date. But I will say that in his confessional, he said that he kind of felt like he was judged, and which was after obviously that meeting, and that the energy in the room was just not good.
Well, he was judged. That's why they were there to see what was under the hood, and it came up short. So he was judged. Meanwhile, Marie has to meet with Jessica's cousin, she said, because her cousin was married
And
and
divorce,
divorced
right?
and she has children.
Right.
She will know where Marie is coming from.
Mhm.
And he came in with this pink striped short set that looked like something Unc wore at the family reunion.
I was gonna say at the amusement park.
Why did he think that was appropriate to
I
me?
have no clue. Stop me lying about that.
They had a good back and forth. They asked him what is his short-term goals. He said that
Yeah,
what
he wanted to open up a restaurant and, within I guess a
year
calendar year, and he also wanted to have it being run by a
floor
manager.
manager
Yeah, floor manager.
because he didn't have the time to be there because he wanted to focus and he was intentional about building a relationship with Jessica. What is his long-term goal? And he said, "Man, I want to be married."
Mhm.
He had a deep hunger and desire to get married, and he hopes that the person that he'll be doing that with was Jessica.
Yeah, and Jessica did come back and say that she felt like they have a connection on an intellectual level.
Yes.
To me, it doesn't seem like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like there is the connection on a physical level from her.
It's not because the cousin mentioned that and she said she wants that to blossom and bloom right now,
Mhm.
but the connection they have is on an intellectual level
Mhm.
because nothing you don't see any heat or passion between them. So maybe that can be developed as they go further along.
Okay, yep, absolutely. I
So,
don't have a problem with that, but I'm just making an observation from her vantage point based on what I see
right.
or don't see.
So at the end of it, the first couple, I believe, was Q and Janelle. Q watched her walk up to him. He gave her flowers, and he said he chose her. The issues that they may have regarding the baby family situation that he's prepared to adopt. Um,
And he's okay with her doing
and
him a
she's
solid. What y'all think?
well. Good luck with that. And I truly mean it. A man wanting children or having a dream or desire to have his own kids, and a woman definitive and clear about that's not what she wants to do at 41 years old. That's a big gulf that they may not be able to overcome unless they come closer and closer and closer together. And because there's going to have to be some big compromises ahead of them if they want this to work.
I don't know about you, but I'm not of the notion that Janelle is about doing a whole lot of compromising on this particular subject. So, from my vantage point, anybody that's doing the compromising, it's going to have to be cute. Have to be cute. Yeah, I wish them well as well. I mean, I like initially, or them as a couple, as a match. I just think that, like you said, they have some serious issues that they need to be on the same page.
Philip and Aries.
Yes.
And Aries came in looking beautiful in a red sort of
Was it
burgundy
cranberry? Was it a
cranberry
cranberry
dress.
color
She
dress?
was gorgeous.
Hmm.
And she's such a beautiful woman, and the makeup they had, she was on point.
Hmm.
And
Did Philip?
didn't look like he put a whole lot of effort into his look. He came in with a something a little casual.
He presented
He presented,
flowers.
yes.
And
And what else he brought?
yeah, he also did something that I thought was very significant, shall we say.
Hmm.
Um, he presented to Aries a baseball, and it was a baseball that had special significance because of who Aries' father was. Aries' father was a professional baseball player, and so she was obviously reminded of her father that way, and her father's deceased, and so is Philip's father. So it had a special meaning to her, and
Right.
I thought it was very, very nice.
And he had a heart and embroidered on the
Yes,
ball as
yeah,
well.
that was a very nice gesture on his part. Kudos to the brother for that. I
Yes.
really think that that was a good move.
And he told her that he chose her
Right, right, and
despite the issues that they may have.
right, because he felt like you know, there was still enough there to work with and to move on down the line, and maybe possibly work things out, later on to an even more significant degree,
Right,
and that he thought it was worth uh, pursuing.
right. And Aries, on the other hand, said there were too many um, question marks for her, particularly around the finances.
Even though she couldn't deny that they had a connection.
Right.
Mhm.
But so she had to choose herself. He looked heartbroken.
Yeah, she broke his face,
Yes.
and I just think that he could have seen this coming, I believe,
I don't know why he didn't.
but I'm not gonna, hammer for not recognizing that part of it. But I think the writing was on the wall to some degree, and maybe he ran through the stop signs or warning signs, and decided to proceed on anyway. But his face was definitely broken.
What if Philip leaves this show, starts his comedy set, starts traveling, and becomes extremely successful?
I don't think that Aries has another shot to at him because of how she handled this go around. You know, a brother wants to know that whoever he's with in terms of his significant other is for lack of a better expression, a ride or die partner.
Hmm.
And it didn't seem like Aries wanted to be with him when he was down here. But if he moves to be up here, then she'll consider it.
Right.
And by then, that's not going to work for a brother because if any man who's really worth his salt is going to want going to evaluate and or choose a partner based on how she responds when things are not good.
Right. Because one thing for sure, the shows like this give a whole lot of exposure.
They do.
And if he wants to elevate or move further, you don't know about the opportunities
That could
that
come
will
his
come
way
his way
as a result of this.
as a result of
That's
it.
exactly right.
So, she made her
She
decision,
may
and
have burnt that bridge.
it is what it is. She connected what she perceived as his lack of with respect, that she couldn't respect him, and you could tell he was angry and hurt about her saying that to him.
Insulted. I would tend to agree with that. I don't necessarily think she handled it the best way possible, but I do think that he was visibly hurt
Yes.
by her response, caught off guard, and shall we say, disappointed. He believes or feels like he made a genuine
Hmm.
effort to get to know her, court her, and really liked her
Hmm.
from the beginning.
Yeah, he did.
And you can't fault a brother for that. But I feel encouraged for him because I think he'll find what it is
Yeah,
that
I think
he's in search of.
he's going out from this point.
Yeah, I think so too.
No doubt about it. Well, next up was Marie, who he's gonna choose, but again, the editors messed up and they showed us Jessica walking up.
Yeah, where
So
Cat?
we,
Where you at,
so,
Cat?
so we were. It wasn't a mystery that he chose her. Jessica came up. Maria was dressed in a suit with a not a. He didn't have on a jacket, but he had a vest on and
Yeah, he
pants and
dressed up for the occasion.
yeah,
He did.
and he had some flowers. He gave it to her. She
Hmm.
seemed happy. She
Hmm.
looked nice. They
She
both
did.
looked nice.
They.
He said that they have a connection from the beginning
Hmm.
and that he chose her.
Yeah, and he figured it out. He figured it out and chose her.
And she said that, they have a whole lot to learn about each other, but she's excited about what the future would bring, and she chose him as well.
Yeah, and again, I don't mean to beat the proverbial dead horse, but it doesn't seem like, again, from her end, there was the physical connection that you may want to expect that should be there at this point in the process.
There was no kiss.
It didn't seem necessarily authentic,
Yes.
at least to the degree that I thought it should have been at this point in the
At
process.
least they could have kissed or something, but he kissed on her forehead and on her hand, which is romantic.
Yes, it is
We were expecting something a little bit more physical, you know, exuberance, if you know what I'm saying.
convincing from my vantage point. But
You not you're
I'm
not
not
convinced, huh?
I'm not hating. I'm just saying to you that I think that there was a little bit more convincing behavior and/or responses that could have been shown to make me more of a believer
Well, the sister
in them
said
as a couple.
she's prepared to travel to the motherland. So that's a big decision to make.
It is.
So I wish them well.
Yeah, I do too. But let me ask you this: do you think that, based on what you saw at the decision date between the two of them, that they are authentic, like maybe Q and Janelle?
They have more of a friendship than that passion, but sometimes it stuff could come to you in a different way. So you could
Absolutely.
start off as a friend,
Yep.
and then that passion, turns up.
And so maybe that
And then
that
too, both of them could be shy to show any public
displays of
signs of
affection.
affection.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
they could be, a little bashful.
Yeah, and they got to give him a little bit of room and leeway to be able to develop, from here, their relationship, and that's perfectly reasonable, isn't it?
Right. So next week we have the reunion, and guess who showed up and started acting up again? You need to stop.
Just saying, we
Uh,
might see some hands.
who was the first one eliminated? Who said to the camera in her confessional she can't believe she behaved badly? Well, she showed up, and she and
Showed up.
Janelle, it's gonna be round two. And it's not like you see on pay-per-view. You can watch this one for free. But I hope it's not gonna be as bad as it looked. Well, what am I saying?
You think Tommy gonna
It's it's
referee?
gonna be it's gonna be bad again. Beautiful black woman showing hands for no good reason.
Yeah, you
I
can't
don't
done
I
you
don't get it.
you can't undo it once it's been on camera.
I do not get it. I do not get it.
She had
But
her act up drink, didn't she?
what?
Had her act up nip or something sip backstage or something, and she was on cracking, wasn't it?
Well, it seemed like some relationships that didn't connect had some connections outside of the process. We're gonna find out next week at the reunion. Thank you. God bless. We hope that you have a wonderful week ahead of you that's full of joy, love, and exuberance for life.